Please subscribe.
You could be excused for not perceiving the 2019 Subaru Forester as an all-new vehicle. Furthermore, honestly, that is deliberate. The Forester has been a runway accomplishment for Subaru, particularly in its latest fourth era where it multiplied the offers of the third-gen demonstrate that as a primary concern, it's nothing unexpected that Subaru is insightfully adhering to the mantra of, on the off chance that it ain't broke, don't settle it. In any case, the 2019 model touches base with various updates. It's greater, more grounded and stuffed with much more solace and tech luxuries than any other time in recent memory. Be that as it may, following multi-day of testing this fifth-age SUV in the slopes of North Carolina, the best thing I can state is that it looks, feels and drives precisely like a Forester should. Subaru says its clients love the without-flaw size of the present Forester. So in spite of moving the SUV to the equivalent worldwide design that supports the Impreza, Crosstrek and Ascent, Subaru has figured out how to keep the Forester's impression strikingly comparable. The 2019 model develops by not as much as an inch in both length and width, while as yet flaunting more legroom inside, and in addition a couple of more cubic feet of freight space, also the most stretched out load and opening in the class. The SUV's structure hasn't changed everything that much, either, and holds such typically Forester components as an extensive glasshouse, receptive stature and thick by and large feel. It's not pretty, but rather it's deliberate. What's more imperatively, it's quickly unmistakable as a Forester. Another sport trim joins the lineup for 2019, instantly identifiable on account of its brilliant orange outside and inside accents, which I can't state I adore, and additionally its dark painted, 18-inch composite wheels. Be that as it may, besides some marginally extraordinary transmission programming when driven in sport mode, this new trim is mechanically indistinguishable to each other Forester. The Forester moves into 2019 with the solitary powertrain alternative, a normally suctioned 2.5-liter level formatted to a ceaselessly factored transmission. It's hard to believe, but it's true, the turbocharged XT demonstrate is dead, same the base Auto's manual gearbox. Subaru says both of these adaptations represented perhaps 5% of by and large Forester deals, so the exertion expected to keep them alive wouldn't be justified, despite all the trouble at last. That is fine, in light of the fact that the Forester's refreshed 2.5-liter motor offers sufficient power and conveys it easily. There's 182 strength and 176 pound-feet of torque on offer, additions of only 12 and 2, individually, contrasted with the cordial model. The CVT is to a great extent inconspicuous more often than not, discreetly murmuring without end and keeping the motor pegged in its power band. Truly dive into the throttle and the transmission will change to a ventured move design that impersonates the activity of a regular 7-speed programmed and accessible, or shifters will give you a chance to travel through those false apparatuses physically. Truly, however, you're in an ideal situation disregarding it. The refreshed 2.5-liter motor is additionally more productive than previously, however scarcely. EPA evaluations of 26 miles for every gallon city, 33 miles per gallon parkway and 29 miles per gallon joint just speak to 1 mile per gallon increments in the expressway and consolidated cycles contrasted with the 2018 Forester. The Forester's new engineering outcomes in a 40% gain in torsional and flexibility, and enhances by and large ride and taking care of qualities. Body roll is to a great extent held under tight restraints, and the 18-inch Haggles/55 arrangement feels worn out on my best and touring test auto drenched up littler asphalt flaws while imparting good measures of input through the wheel. Subaru utilizes another variable directing framework in the Forester, however since it's solitary changing somewhere in the range of 14.0:1 and 13.5:1 proportions, it's not horrendously discernible. Rather, drivers will simply appreciate the exact, pleasantly weighted controlling. Being a Forester, Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive is standard over every trim level. What's more, in the event that you'll wind up hitting dusty, or sloppy, trails, there are two unique levels of Subaru's X mode to help get you through the harsh stuff. The premium trim has a solitary X mode setting that progressions the intersection purpose of the footing control. Game, limited and touring models, in the interim, have both snow, earth and profound snow, mud modes, the last of which naturally withdraws footing control so you can get those tires a-moving. On a short go-dirt road bumping course, X mode appears to traverse the sloppy stuff all around okay. However, a tricky throttle regularly implies you will give the Forester more oomph than it needs to escape tight spots. Each rendition of X mode accompanies slow plummet control, which adjusts the vehicle's speed down soak evaluations, and it fills in as promoted. The best thing about driving a Forester is the instructing view from in the driver's seat. Indeed, even with the driver's seat in its most reduced position, the enormous windows and thin A-columns offer an unbelievable extent of perceivability. By and by, this is an indisputably Forester encounter, similar to the totally monstrous power sunroof that can be fitted to generally trims. Inside materials get somewhat more pleasant for 2019, with higher quality plastics on the dash and entryways, and gentler calfskin on higher and limited and touring variations. It's calmer inside, as well, with just little bits of wind and tire commotion advancing into the lodge at higher velocities. In case I'm to enroll any grievance about the Forester's inner parts, it's that the cockpit configuration feels somewhat occupied, with heaps of lines and points and diverse formed distensions. It's all impeccably simple to oversee, with simple to find vehicle controls and just a moderate measure of switchgear on the middle support. Yet, regardless of whether you pick a dull, dark and dim shading plan, there are simply such a large number of various surfaces. The previously mentioned dimensional increases keep the Forester in the bigger end of the reduced SUV measure range, with as much as 76.1 cubic feet of freight space with the back seats collapsed level. In case you're oftentimes conveying freight, or pooches, it's a Subaru. All things considered, realize that you'll fit a greater amount of your belonging in a Forester than you will in a Ford Escape, Honda CR-V, Mazda CX-5, Nissan Rogue or Volkswagen Tiguan. The Forester's greatest tech redesign really concerns propelled driver help highlights, you know, the stuff that keeps you sheltered and sound. Each and every 2019 Forester demonstrate comes standard with Subaru's EyeSight framework, which groups versatile journey control, pre-impact braking, pre-crash throttle administration, path takeoff cautioning and path keeping help. Higher trim levels can be had with invert programmed braking, vulnerable side observing and path change help. Just the best and touring gets Subaru's new driver focus tech, which utilizes facial acknowledgement programming to recognize and ready drivers of weariness. Driver focus can likewise perceive up to 5 distinct drivers and recall their particular presets for things like seat position and atmosphere control. I'll concede, it's quite cool to set this framework once, get in the auto after another person has been driving, and have the Forester go ideal back to where you cleared out it. It resembles the up-and-coming age of a memory situate work. On the infotainment front, Subaru's 6.5-inch Starlink framework is standard, with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Curious to see what happens, and also various outsider highlights including Glimes, Stitcher, Yelp and a Forester suitably Birdavian fan application. Higher-end models swap out the 6.5-inch screen for a bigger 8.0-inch show, with installed route discretionary on the limited trim and standard on touring. A Wi-Fi hotspot is accessible on the Forester's premium review or more. Starlink functions admirably enough, with a menu structure that is generally simple to explore and vast, vivid symbols for its different capacities. Hard catches on the inside support give alternate ways to the home screen and different menus. Generally, the framework doesn't endeavor to stun you in any capacity, and I value its basic, clear nature. It's a ton like the Forester itself. New Foresters are gradually moving into Subaru showrooms as you read this, with costs extending somewhere in the range of $24,295 for the base model to $34,295 for a best-level touring, excluding $975 for Gold. That base cost just speaks to a $500 value climb over the 2018 model. However, the 2.5i Touring is $1,245 more costly than previously. The new sport trim grounds amidst the model range, at $28,795. As a general rule, the 2019 Forester is the equivalent as it ever might have been, a trusty, strong decision in the minimized SUV space. It's tough by configuration, stuffed with standard security tech, and has all that could possibly be needed space for you, your family, your puppies and your rigging. It's an enhancement over the effective fourth-age Forester in all the correct ways, and should help keep Subi's game Muta at the highest point of its diversion for a considerable length of time to come.